Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Monomyth Diaries, a podcast where ordinary people get to share their hero's journey. I'm Mandy.
And I'm Karen, and we'll be your hosts.
We'll discover powerful insights, critical moments of growth, and much more.
Thanks for joining us. We all have a monomyth to share, and someone out there needs to hear it. Welcome back to the Monomyth Diaries. It's a take what you like and leave the rest podcast.
Today's featured hero is Sarah, and she's going to take us through her monomyth, exploring the early challenges of her life.
Welcome to the show, Sarah. We're going to start off with some Monomyth Diary story starters. So there's just some rapid fire questions just to warm up.
Sounds good.
So Sarah, sweet or savory?
I feel like I need to pick savory just in honor of my spicy podcast. So we'll go with savory.
Actually, savory's my favorite.
Yeah, me too. I could give up chocolate forever. What is the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
Probably sneaking out of my house.
Oh.
I was like 14 and I stole my mom's car.
Wow.
Yeah. We're just going to go right into it, guys.
Wow.
Wild, I love it.
I'd like to know more about that.
I think I was 16 before I did that. Because I
Stole your mom's car?
Yeah, drove it, like wheeled it out of the driveway, closed it, and
There you go, girl.
And he came back like before like 5 in the morning. So, but I'm sure they must have noticed the gas level was really low.
I am just shocked by this right now with you. Both of you. I can say I did a lot of sneaking out as a kid, but I never stole my parents' car.
I didn't have a license yet, so it was a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
All right, so Sarah, what is one superpower you wish you had?
Invisibility. I love to be invisible. I think the less attention on me, the better.
Interesting, but yet you have a podcast.
I know.
And run a workout group.
I know. I'm really pushed out of my limits a lot. But
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It sounds like you get out of your comfort zone all the time. What is a word you always misspell?
Wednesday. I've since memorized it though, but it took a long time for me to get Wednesday down.
If you could have any job for a day, what would it be?
I would love to be a farmer.
Kind of farm.
Just my own land, just with plants, vegetables, and animals. I would love to get paid to do that.
I'll also say farmers are like the most undervalued and unsung heroes on this planet.
Yeah, it's hard work for sure. Don't get me wrong. But if I could get paid to just have that piece of just being outside and around animals and just taking care of my own land, it would be amazing.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
My all-time favorite movie is Last Action Hero. It's like an action movie from the 90s.
Yeah.
And it goes back to one of the things my dad and I did when I was a kid a lot was he would take me to see rated R movies when I was very young, like action movies. That was like our thing. And we would go to a late show and then we'd go to Denny's after. So action movies just have like a very special place in my heart. And I remember that one specifically. And I had rented it so much. We had like on the corner of my block, there was this like family owned video store. And I walked there all the time to rent this movie, The Last Action Hero. Like every week. You could keep it for 5 days and then return it and I would just go re-rent it. So he ended up closing down and he gave me the movie. The Last Action Hero movie when I was a kid. So yeah, it's my favorite movie of all time.
I'm going to have to watch it now. I don't think I've ever
It's
seen it.
horrible. It's so bad. It is such a bad movie. Like the special effects, like everything about it is so bad, but it's so good.
I remember when it came. I can see the poster in my mind right now. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yes.
That's so funny. I don't remember it in the 90s. Okay.
So Sarah, what is your favorite season?
My favorite season is summer.
What's that?
Just the heat.
Uh-huh.
I love the hot weather. I love the ocean. I love the beach. There's just something about the feeling. Even though, like, okay, we have to work now. Like, we're adults. We don't have the summer off.
Yeah.
The summer just hits different. Like, it just feels different even when it's summer.
I understand that. Especially having grown up in the cold.
Yeah.
So you're actually from California, right?
Yeah.
Are you from the part that gets cold?
Yes, I'm from Northern.
So you don't miss the winters?
No, it's actually too cold for me there now that I've acclimated to Texas heat. So if we go there, we would go there in like July, I'll be wearing like my North Face. It's just like so cold to me.
When it's 50.
Yeah.
And they look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah, for sure. They do. They're all wearing shorts and tank tops. And I'm like, ah.
All right. If you had one wish, what would it be?
I think my one wish would be to be able to travel more.
Okay, so what is your favorite childhood memory?
My favorite childhood memory is going to Disneyland.
Anything in particular about Disneyland that stands out?
I think it was just being together and just the magic that you feel there. I know that there's quite a bit of Disney adults out there who kind of understand that when you just hit that main street, all your cares go away. And I just remember being a kid and just being super excited. We had really great memories as a family at Disneyland, and we had very few memories like that. So I think Disneyland was just my favorite.
Have you been again since you were little?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You take it your family.
Yes.
It's a pretty magical place. If you could master one musical instrument, what would it be?
Probably the piano. I can play some. I mostly play by ear. So I think I would like to actually master it and like learn how to read music.
All right. Feeling comfortable?
Yeah.
Ready to get in? As you said, you already have a podcast, so you're used to doing this. We're going to start at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go all the way back to your childhood. Can you tell us what it was like for you as a young person?
So I was born and raised in a small town in Northern California. I was nestled in between the redwoods on one side, the ocean, Santa Cruz, and then the Bay Bridge on the other. Growing up there was really special because it was like a big city kind of. You had a big city on one side, but this was a smallish town where everybody kind of knew everybody. I think my graduating class had like 300 people. I grew up in the house that my father grew up in, that my grandfather immigrated from Sweden. And my childhood was seemingly great on the outside. Like I said, we went to Disneyland often. Sometimes if you could tell my parents were having a good year because we got season passes and we would go a couple times a year. And my parents had a lot of friends, mostly on account of my dad. He had a lot of charisma, and a lot of people really enjoyed his company. We would go to different events and see different family friends, and we were also really close with, not immediate family, but my aunts and uncles and my cousins and things like that growing up. We all, did things together. So looking in, it seemed like a great childhood. However, I did grow up with drug addict parents. Probably from birth until 5 years old, they did cocaine. And you're thinking, okay, it's like the 80s in California. Like, who didn't do cocaine, right? But I think it was really a volatile time for me. So then fast forward at 5 years old, my younger brother is born. And that sort of changed things. I think my parents really settled down. My dad's dad had passed away, and my dad was very close to his dad. And I think that changed him in a lot of ways. And so both my parents after that were sober. And that's kind of when I think the Disneyland memories come in. There was like a great period of time where my parents were both sober at the same time. And then when I was around 10, my father had back surgery. And after that surgery, he became addicted to prescription drugs. Those addiction habits kind of kicked back in again. During that time period, my father had owned a church building. He inherited it from his father. And there was this little Baptist church that was using it at the time. And they would have baptisms there, and he would have to come, being the good landlord that he was, and fill up this underground pool with water. And every time he would go, they would invite him to stay. We ended up going one time, and I felt such a connection at church. I remember hearing a hymn because they were singing out of a hymn book with just a piano, and I was just crying at like 7 years old. And I didn't know like what that feeling was or who it was or anything, but I knew I wanted like more of it. So I had told my mom about it, that I wanted to go back next Sunday, and we did. And from that point on, my mom and myself and my other siblings started going to this church. And my mom became very authoritative in her beliefs from that point on. Like, she took it and she ran with it. And really what she took was like the Old Testament. And she just like ran with it. And that was like how she was going to raise us now.
What do you mean by the Old Testament?
She really took to heart things that we should and should not be doing, and focus more on that and focus less on the saving grace of like Jesus Christ, right?
Legalism.
Yes, which was easy to do in a Baptist church. And I don't blame her for that. I think if you know addiction, you know that those people are searching for something. And even if it's something as good as religion, they just take it and they just like go like full force with it. Anything good can become bad, I feel like, in the hands of a person who struggles with addiction. After that, the home became very abusive. It was very torn. So my dad, he's struggling with prescription drugs, and my mom is full force into the church. She integrated corporal punishment, like the spanking and things like that.
Spread the rug, spoil the child.
Right.
Is that new? She wasn't like that before?
Correct.
Okay.
How old were you? You saw that shift.
I would say I was 8. When that shift happened, there was a lot of tension between my parents. And I think it was just because both of them were going in such different directions. It felt like the whole dynamic of the family shifted, and I don't really know why. But as a kid, I just pinpointed, okay, we're going to church. He's not. During that time, my parents were a lot of yelling. My dad was like very loud, and we were afraid of him. And that's hard to say because he was such a good guy on the outside. Like if I were a kid and I went and I told so and so, like, hey, my dad is like screaming and yelling and punching the wall, that person would not believe me if they knew my dad because of just the amount of charisma he had. Even on drugs, he was like high functioning, just super social, like great guy. That was going in on the inside, but on the outside, you just see like this normal family.
So could I ask you, what was your mom like before you guys started going to church? Could you describe your relationship? And
I didn't have one. Even as a child, I never had a relationship with my mom. She was so withdrawn and so quiet. She just wasn't there. Like, it just seemed like she was just surviving every day. As a child, I didn't know why. It wasn't until much later as an adult, and I had conversations with her, did I know why she was that way. But I was very close to my dad. I was with my dad every day from the time he got home from work to the time we went to bed. Weekends, I was with my dad every weekend. And so if you were to ask my brother what was our childhood like, my older brother, he would tell you a completely different story because he was much closer to my mom. And he was very afraid of my father, whereas I was more afraid of our mom. Despite her not ever being verbally abusive, I just didn't have a relationship with her. I felt like I was living with a stranger.
you mentioned your brother, like if we can just kind of get an idea of your family.
Yeah, so I'm the second oldest.
Okay.
I have an older brother who's 2 years older than me. I have a younger brother who's 5 years younger than me, and then my sister is 10 years younger than me. So there's 4 siblings.
Those are pretty significant gaps.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, just so I can get a better picture of, like you mentioned, you were, kind of distant from your mom. Like, so, like I'm assuming like when you're home from school, whatever, like, did you just not see her, or when did that look
I
like?
avoided her at all costs.
Got it.
Yeah. I would go straight to my room or outside or anything. And by the time my sister came along, I was 10. My mom wasn't functioning really much at all after that. She had postpartum depression and would rarely even get out of bed. So at that point, at 10, I was more so coming home and taking care of my sister.
So you kind of stepped into like the mother role.
Mm-hmm. During my teenage years, it flip-flopped again, where my dad got sober and then my mom faltered. She had become, at that point, an alcoholic. My dad's health had been declining pretty rapidly at that point. By my junior year, they wanted to move to the Central Valley of California, where it was cheaper to live than the Bay Area. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to even be in that house anymore. And I had proposed that I move in with another family member who is, she's technically my cousin, but she's much older than me. She's, probably 60. So I always refer to her as my aunt. She said yes, but she really just put the law down for me. Like, if you're going to live here, you need to do this, this, and this. You need to get good grades. And it was that point where it's like I finally had something that I wanted to accomplish. Kind of like I wanted to meet those requirements to not be living with my family anymore.
You had a bar to reach for.
Yes, I did.
Do you mind us backing up just for a minute? Mm-hmm. So you said that maybe right around the age of 8 or 10, your mom is becoming an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something that happens quickly. It gets worse and worse. So you realize this is starting to happen. And does it get worse and worse? I mean, you're saying by high school you're thinking about not living there anymore. So what was that like?
So the worse and worse went from never seeing alcohol in my house before because my parents were not drinkers.
Right, because you said they had both sobered up, right?
Yeah, they were both sober. So I had never even, as a kid, I didn't even know what beer was, like nothing. There was no alcohol in my house. And then so it went from nothing to just all of a sudden seeing, wine bottles all the time or liquor bottles and the cops being called and fights. My mom was a very mean drunk, a very rough, mean drunk. Every time she would drink, a fight would start with somebody. And it was usually like a fist fight or her throwing something, just crazy behavior. So it went from literally 0 to 60 in a short period of time. And again, I think it's the addiction.
Maybe asking, when you said she was a mean drunk, is there a particular target that she directed that energy to?
It was usually my dad. And I think, looking back as now that I've been a wife for 20 years myself, it was probably a lot of pent up, resentment. There was many nights where I would just hold my sister until she fell asleep because she would just be crying because she would hear them fighting. I felt guilty for wanting to leave my sister, but I knew if I was going to do anything, I had to leave. So I did. So my aunt let me move in with her, and I had a bar to reach. I had goals to meet. And I really just turned my life around at that point. I had found a friend who went to church, and I asked her if I can go with her. And this was my senior year of high school. And she picked me up every Sunday because my license was suspended because I stole my mom's car. I wasn't suspended, but I was not allowed to get it.
Yeah.
It was like, forget it. Like, you're not getting a license until you're 18. So I did not have a license. Mm-hmm. So I depended on everybody to give me rides.
Okay. How many times did you take the car?
Several, but that was the only time I got caught. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So yeah, I just didn't want to be at home. It was just like whatever I could do to get out there and go party or whatever. So senior year, I kind of got my act together. I wasn't stealing cars. I wasn't cutting school, really anything like that. And I was going to church with a friend. I just finally had clarity. Like, I felt safe in the house I was living with. I wasn't like walking on eggshells, or I wasn't really any yelling or anything like that. And on the weekends, I would go home and be with my sister and my little brother and spend time with them. And then I met my husband my senior year of high school. So I met him in photography class, and we would flirt in the dark room a lot. And I really needed a date for prom. I was like, I'm going to my senior prom. I'm not missing this. And I was like, hey, do you want to be my date for senior prom? And he said, yeah, okay. And then I said, well, you should probably have my number so we can talk about being matching and things like that. He's like, okay. And then he walks away, and he comes back. He's like, can I have your number? I was like, yes. So I felt like I orchestrated everything for this. And we just became best friends after that.
So 2 questions I got. So it was your idea to move out. What was your parents' reaction to that? Because obviously you had to tell them.
Yeah.
I noticed you're no longer there.
My dad was all for it. My dad was the biggest supporter of anything that I wanted or needed to do. Mm-hmm. My mom was insanely jealous of my aunt and my relationship with her and just how well I was doing at her house. It was almost like she didn't want me to do well outside of living under her rules or roof. That created a lot of problems.
So then from that, now that you started dating your future husband, did you tell your parents
about dating him?
Yeah.
They did. And my mom, even though she was an alcoholic, she was still a hardcore, legalist Christian. So I was not allowed to go anywhere alone with him, or she had a bunch of rules in place for that. Mm-hmm. So she knew that we were dating, but she didn't know how serious it was. And my dad didn't care. He was just whatever makes you happy.
Did you meet him?
Oh yeah, they met him. They actually met him for the first time after we had graduated. It was that summer.
So I'm going to back up a little bit because I know your story is very rich. There's a lot of gauntlets that you were
Got a lot of moving.
So I learned the term sprinkles from you. Mm-hmm. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Sprinkles to me are when God has shown up in my life, where he's clearly watching over me, even though I'm not even saved necessarily at this point, even though I'm not even in a relationship with Christ, he's still tugging at me and watching me and protecting me. And it really started with that day at like 7 years old at this church that my dad was the landlord over. I just felt such a connection there. And then fast forward to in high school when I was making a lot of bad decisions and sneaking out. The boy actually that I went to go see stealing that car was a gang member of the Crips, which is a Northern California gang. He had a lot of ties in the gang community. His cousin was one of the biggest gang leaders in that area. And that's who I was hanging out with at 14 years old. And they were selling marijuana, and he had marijuana in our high school in a giant like freezer bag. He had a lot on him, and he got caught. This was not a good relationship, but I was just dead set on being with this person. So he got caught and was eventually arrested. And even when they came to question me, the principal, he's like, okay, you're dating this guy. Like, you have to know. And it's like, I knew, but I didn't know to the extent of how much marijuana he had on him, what he was doing with it, things like that. I didn't know the operation. I knew what they were, but I didn't know the whole operation of it. So I didn't get in trouble, and he ended up going to juvie, like a correctional facility. And I would call him on this payphone there every day. I was obsessed with this guy. Eventually, a female picked up, and she was like, oh, I'm dating him now. Like, you better stay away or I'm going to kill you, things like that.
Oh my.
Wow.
And I was legit heartbroken. And looking back now, I'm like, oh my God, Sarah, you are so dumb. Like, how could you be like so heartbroken over this guy? But I was like, my world is over. Like this drug dealer doesn't want me anymore. Like, what am I going to do with my life? So I was so heartbroken. And I remember my aunt picked me up from school that day, and I was crying and crying and crying. I just never thought I was going to get over it. Eventually I did. And then maybe 10 years after high school, somebody had reached out to me on MySpace. Do you guys remember what
Yes,
MySpace
I do
is?
remember MySpace.
And they were like, hey, I remember you dated this guy so-and-so, and linked me the article, and he had murdered his girlfriend. He lit their entire house on fire. So that was definitely a sprinkle. Like, God completely redirected my life. Just removed him, plucked him out of my life. And then another sprinkle. Do you want me to tell you another one?
Yes,
I would
please.
love to know another one. I was going to ask, so just go for it.
So another one happened much later in my life. I was a young mom, and we were very poor, my husband and I, and we were just down to like one car. We had just moved here, and he was making like $9 an hour, which was like a lot for us.
And you say here, you mean in Houston. You
Yes.
moved at this
We
point
moved
from
at this point.
California to Houston.
Yes.
Okay.
Our firstborn is 6 to 8 months old, and I don't have money for diapers. It's like 3 days to his next paycheck. So I'm wrapping her little butt in a dishcloth. I fold it under her and I tie it on each side, and I just wash it. And I'm doing that with a dishcloth like every hour. I had WIC for milk and stuff like that. They don't pay for diapers. So I was at the grocery store, and I was going to get a couple things, and I had it in my head that I was just going to steal a pack of diapers. I had stolen before. In the time of sneaking out of the house, I had a bling ring going.
Bling ring? What is
Like
that?
a term for like teens who steal from a store and then sell it to their peers. type
Oh.
thing.
Okay.
Like purses.
Learned something new today.
Yeah. So it really wasn't anything to me to steal a pack of diapers. The only difference now is I had my baby with me. The consequences would be real, right? I'm not just some punk teen now. So I was shopping through the store, just weighing this decision. And I'd also grown much closer to God at this point. I was even in a church leading a women's ministry, talking about the names of God. And one of them is Jehovah Jireh, and that is the God my Lord will provide. And I just spoke on this topic about the Lord providing for you and how He provides for even the crows who can't provide for themselves. And here I am shopping, thinking I'm going to steal. I was wrestling with my thoughts the entire time, and I just asked God, if you just provide this pack of diapers, like, I'll trust you, like, forever. It won't even be a question anymore. I'll just stop my bullshit, like, right now. I walk down the baby aisle where the diapers are, and there's a $10 bill folded up like an origami swan. Like, no joke. I'm not even joking.
Wow.
I'm not even joking. Yeah. And I was like, oh crap, now I really have to do what I say, because he just showed up, like, for real. So the sprinkles to me are these moments where I'm not worthy of these provisions and these rescues and these things that he gives me, but he still gives them to me. And he still redirects and gets me back on the path where, he needs me and wants me to be.
First of all, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Because, you're so honest and vulnerable and open. That's very touching, and to share that with us.
It's unbelievable. I don't tell it very often because it sounds so unbelievable.
It's divine.
Yeah, it is literally divine.
God's looking out for you.
I have another one if you have time.
Oh,
Yeah, let's go.
Yes, please.
Okay. When my dad passed away, at this point I had been taking care of him for 3 years. And I was very torn when he had passed away between being grateful that this burden was now gone, but also guilty from the way that I was angry with him or maybe had treated him when he had lived with me. Sad too, the sad of losing somebody who was your best friend. So I had went to see him the day that he passed away. Let me back up a little bit. He was in the hospital every month, so this was nothing new. And I happened to have strep throat. And like I said, my husband and I only had one car, so I had to wait for him to get home from work. And so I couldn't go see him for a while. And then I talked to him that day on the phone. I said, hey, I haven't had a fever for a while. Because he was in ICU, and you can't go when you're sick to the ICU. So I said, okay, I'm feeling better. I'm going to come see you tonight. And he said, okay, good. And I went to go see him that night, and I'm walking in, and as I walk in, I hear his room number being coded. They were doing CPR, they were doing the heart things, and he eventually passed. They worked on him for like a good 20 minutes. And I just prayed for peace. And it just like enveloped like a blanket almost. If it was like a really cold day and somebody put like a heated blanket on you, and that instant feeling, that's what it felt like. It like almost knocked the breath out of me. It was so warm. So I knew that he was okay. That it was so peaceful. And so that was another sweet glitter moment. Sprinkle moment. Yeah.
I love that. I've never heard the term before. Is that just what you naturally have called them?
I don't know.
You just always called them sprinkles.
Yeah. Just ways that he would just redirect and
Sprinkle his love on you.
comfort, and just it's moments where if I've asked for an immediate need, it's been given to me, and it's usually out of complete and utter desperation.
I'm so humbled that that was your take. If that was me, I'd be just thinking how traumatized I am to witness this. Instead, you're feeling gratitude, you're feeling comfort.
God's
Weird.
presence.
Wow. I'm sorry, I'm just in awe right now.
So the thought of the sprinkle with the boy. So you get over him and you meet Roy. Let's talk about Roy some more.
Sure. Roy is like everything that guy wasn't. So he was a really great guy. We had started kind of hard and fast after prom. So prom was in May of 2003.
And this is your senior year of high school.
Senior year of high school.
That you meet Roy.
And how much time difference between that boyfriend that you're sneaking out to see and Roy?
Maybe 2 years, probably freshman, sophomore year to senior year. If I had dated last between, like there was like plenty in between that. They didn't last as long or as serious before. Right. Prom was in May 2003. We graduated high school in June, and then he met my family in July, and then December he proposed, and the following July we were married. July 2004.
So you were 19 when you married.
18.
18. Oh, 18.
I had turned 18. I had graduated at 17. It's my birthdays. I was a youngin.
So what led you to decide to get married at 18?
It was really leaving my house, leaving my family. I knew I had to kind of make a decision after living with my aunt that, okay, I'm either going to go back here, right? Or I could go to college. My parents didn't go to college, and I just didn't see a way I could ever possibly afford to go to college. So I decided not to. I decided to just get married.
What prompted, like, did you guys talk about this? Like, when he proposed?
I was going to say, does he know about your home life situation when he proposes?
I think he knows of my mom's alcoholism, but he doesn't know anything really about my childhood, and he doesn't really know anything about my dad and his drug addiction. And him and my dad were actually pretty close once they met. They almost got into a relationship faster than he and I did. But like I said, my dad was super charismatic. But Roy was very interested in cars and knew that that's what he wanted to do, was go to like a technical school to be a mechanic. And my dad was a very good mechanic. He didn't do it for a living, but he did it on the side. He, ever since I was a child, he was restoring something in the garage. Like that's what we were doing on the weekends. So they instantly bonded. They spent a lot of time under the hood of a car. So he didn't know anything about my dad really, but he knew about my mom because he had witnessed just having to pick up my sister if, you know, the cops were called or, you know, anything like that.
So you and I have something in common. We both were raised with family members who were addicts, alcoholics. And I know for me, I took a lot of that into my first relationships. How do you think having grown up in that impacted you moving forward, like your relationship with Roy at this point?
It definitely impacted the way I cope with maybe disagreements him and I have, or I had tried so hard to get away from my family, but all of those things were still ingrained in me from never learning otherwise. I could say all day long, like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to parent like that. I wouldn't even fill prescriptions because I was terrified to take any type of prescription. But I still was that way. Like I couldn't escape those qualities that I grew up with. So there was a lot of my mom and me in me as a young adult, as a young married adult, as a young married mom. I was very quiet. I let a lot of resentment build. And there were things that I just couldn't escape. So even though as much as I didn't want to, I took a lot of those qualities that they displayed growing up with me, for sure.
When you made obviously you made a decision, like this was an actual decision to say yes to Roy. Like, did you feel any shift in, there's a gradual, like there's, your home situation, and then you drove the choice to move out and go live with your cousin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cousin. And then, and now, you're settling down and getting married at 18. Did you feel like, how did you feel when you made that, when you were like, I'm going to do this?
I wish I could give you a profound answer, but I really just literally felt like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do next. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, you just get married and have kids. So, I mean, that was really just my way of thinking. And it was really my only way to get out. Mm-hmm. So I knew, okay, I almost have to do this, and just thank God he's a decent man, right? And then just go with it. And that's it.
Okay. And your parents are on board with this?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, they were.
That probably made your mom happy. I mean, if that's how she was in the Christian church, right? Or what did you call it?
Like legalistic.
Legalistic. She wants you to get married.
Yeah, I think she did enjoy it. Roy did ask my dad for permission. They met for coffee one day, and he did ask him before he proposed to me. So they knew, and they were supportive. And I think it goes back to even them being, that's all that they know, right? I mean, they got married. My mom got pregnant with my brother in high school still. And then they just got married. Okay. And then I came along. And so that's just what our generations knew to do.
You love Roy, but you're happy to be getting out.
Yes, very much so.
You said you described him as your best friend, and you're about to start this new exciting chapter with your best friend.
We'll talk about that in our next episode, your next chapter. Sarah, thank you for sharing your incredible monomyth with us. Your journey is a beautiful reminder that with resilience, healing is possible, and the boons it brings can ripple through our lives and communities.
To our listeners, we hope you've been inspired by Sarah's story. Don't forget to join us every Tuesday for a new episode in the Little Pick-Me-Up.
Thank you for joining us on the Monomyth Diaries. If this episode resonates with you or someone you know, we'd love for you to share it and spread the inspiration.
Don't forget to follow us wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube to stay connected.
We'd appreciate it if you could take a moment and rate and review the podcast. It helps us reach more people with stories of transformation and growth.
You can visit us at monomythdiaries.com or text us directly from the show notes to reach out and keep the conversations going.
Until next time, heroes, let's journey together through our monomyths.